Have humans learned to control the weather? Can this technology end the water shortage? Hello, friends. How would it feel if I tell you that humans have learned to control the weather to some extent? With the help of cloud seeding technology, we can artificially rain wherever we want. This is a technology that has been used for many years. Countries like China have spent millions of dollars on this technology. But now, if you want to, you can use it for selfish reasons too. For example, if you are afraid that it may rain on the day of your wedding, a company in France offers cloud seeding services. If you give this company 10 millions, they will do cloud seeding and ensure that it will not rain on your wedding day. Hearing this, the biggest question you would have right now would be if this technology is indeed so wonderful. The water crisis in our country, there are prolonged droughts in some places. In other places, there may be excess rainfall causing floods or water shortages. To solve all these problems, why isn't this technology used? In this video today, come, let us understand the cloud seeding technology better.
But have we come to the point where we can control the weather?
Cloud seeding is already used in China and Thailand to tackle air pollution.
This is the result of proper cloud seeding. Before understanding cloud seeding technology, we need to understand clouds. What are clouds and how do they form? We all studied in school about 3 states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. If we talk about water, the 3 states of matter of water are ice, liquid water, and gaseous water vapor. If something is converted from one state to another, that process has a name. When ice turns into water, the process is called melting. If water turns into ice, then it is called freezing. If water turns into water vapor, it is evaporation or vaporization. And if water vapor turns back into water, it is known as condensation. What happens is that there is a lot of water vapor in the air. If there is a lot of water vapor in the air, then we will say that there is a lot of humidity in the air. Lesser water vapor content means lower humidity. Now, when this water vapor rises in the atmosphere, as you know, the higher we go from the ground, with the increase of altitude, the colder it gets. Like, it is very cold in the mountains. Now, when this water vapor is at a higher altitude, it condenses due to cold. This water vapor turns into water. Extremely small, tiny water droplets. When these water droplets are suspended in the air, we see clouds. Actually, these are clouds. These small water droplets that make up the clouds are minuscule, so small that their diameter is 1/100th of a millimeter. And there are millions of such droplets in a cloud. If a cloud is at an even higher altitude, the atmosphere is even colder. This means that not only does it condense, but it also freezes. These water droplets turn into tiny crystals of ice, and these ice crystals form the clouds. So, in this sense, there are 2 types of clouds. One is made of water droplets, and the other is made of ice crystals. The difference between the 2 can be easily seen. The ice crystal clouds are at a higher altitude. You cannot see a clear boundary line, and they are thinner. The heavy clouds that are closer to the ground are made of water droplets. Now that we have understood this, the next question is, how do these clouds rain? What happens is that these small droplets, when they keep accumulating, more droplets keep joining in. The clouds keep getting bigger. These small droplets start colliding with each other. They mix with each other and form big droplets. These big droplets go up into the atmosphere and freeze to form ice crystals, but the ice crystals also collide into each other to form bigger ice crystals. This process continues until the ice crystals become so big that they start falling on the ground due to their weight. And when this happens, the ice crystals fall on the ground. While falling down, if the temperature of the air is cold, then they will fall like snow. That's a snowfall. If the air near the ground is warm, the ice crystals will melt and fall like rain droplets. This is how it rains. Now, if we talk about cloud seeding, then in the history of humans, this technology has been introduced by chance due to an accident. For such accidents, there's a word in English, serendipity. It means by chance, something happens that ends up benefiting us. A big example of a serendipitous discovery is the discovery of a vaccine. When Dr. Alexander Fleming invented penicillin, it was an accident. Cloud seeding was also a serendipitous discovery. In 1943, Dr. Vincent Schaefer was an American chemist and meteorologist. He was researching aircraft icing and precipitation. In 1946, he used a cold box for his research, a box that was very cold. While testing something else, during his experiments, he often breathed out in this cold box. As you know, when we breathe out of our mouth, it contains water vapor, and if it's cold outside, it will condense. He noticed this while doing the experiment. You can see this yourself. When you go out in the cold weather and breathe, it feels like you are breathing out smoke or fog. Actually, what you see as smoke or fog are the same tiny water droplets. The water vapor that you breathe out gets condensed into these tiny droplets, exactly the same process that forms clouds. So it's not wrong to say that you can blow out a mini cloud during winter. Dr. Schaefer also noticed the same thing, but he took it one step further. He wondered about what would happen if he cooled the box down further. To do this, he used dry ice. Dry ice is basically a solid form of carbon dioxide. It is commonly used for refrigeration and cooling, and it exists only at a temperature of -78 degrees Celsius. So he placed some dry ice in the cold box. And then when he breathed out into that box, he saw something miraculous. The air that he blew out suddenly turned into millions of microscopic ice crystals. He saw it as a bluish haze. He noticed that if the temperature is reduced suddenly, then the water vapor will instantly turn into ice crystals. This thing happens in clouds at the last stage, when those ice crystals become huge and heavier than the atmosphere. He saw that using dry ice has sped up this process. Dr. Schaefer immediately conducted more experiments to understand what was happening exactly. Finally, when he understood things, he realized that it can be used in real life as well. Why not try to instantly cool the clouds in the sky by using dry ice so that we can get instant snowfall or rain? On the 13th of November 1946, Dr. Schaefer flew a plane from New York. He took 2.5 kilograms of dry ice with him on this flight and conducted his test on a cloud near Mount Greylock. He literally threw crushed dry ice out of the plane on top of the clouds, and the result was amazing. He saw instant heavy snowfall and rain, and this was the invention of cloud seeding. Today, Dr. Vincent Schaefer is credited for the inventing cloud seeding. But before him, there was another man, Wilhelm Reich. He claimed to have invented a cloudbuster machine in America. He claimed that by using orgone energy, by using cosmic energy, he could manipulate the atmosphere and cause rain. He named his research cosmic orgone engineering. But as you can guess, he was a person who made fraudulent claims. His machine didn't work at all. It was simply a way to steal the credit. Interestingly, there was another scientist apart from Dr. Schaefer who was working on cloud seeding technology, but from a completely different perspective. Scientist Dr. Gerhard Vonnegut. He didn't want to use dry ice to make the clouds colder for cloud seeding to work. He wanted to use a chemical to carry out the process. His idea was based on the condensation property of water. Something that you may not know is that the process of condensation has a condition. To convert water vapor into water, to undergo the process of condensation, a non-gaseous surface is required. That is, a solid or liquid surface is required to complete the process of condensation. If there is no surface, condensation cannot happen. It is said that without this surface, water vapor will remain as water vapor, even if the temperature falls to -10 degrees Celsius. You may say that I claimed earlier in the video that water vapor condenses when the air cools. How can that happen without any surface? There is a surface, of course. The small dust particles in our atmosphere, the pollens floating around in the air, act like surfaces to carry out the condensation process for clouds to form. The thing is, the better the surface, the faster and better would condensation be. A practical example is in your bathroom. When you take a shower, if there are glass surfaces around the shower area, you can see condensation on the glass. The water droplets collect on it. Or when there's high humidity. You might have noticed that in winter, around the corners of windows, there is a lot of condensation. Water droplets form there because there is a lot of humidity inside the house, high water vapor content in air. So the water vapor condenses when it meets the cold glass on the windows. And that glass provides a surface for the condensation. This was Dr. Vonnegut's logic. If a better surface can be provided, the condensation process will be faster. He experimented with chemicals like silver and iodide. Using silver iodide, he found that actually, silver iodide is a good surface for water vapor. Silver iodide has the property to absorb a lot of moisture, so water vapor gets attracted to it and gets converted into water. Today, we know about several materials like silver iodide, which can absorb the moisture around them. We call these materials cloud seeds, or cloud condensation nuclei. Like Dr. Schaefer threw dry ice on top of the clouds, we can use these cloud seed materials and throw them on the clouds to speed up the condensation process, so that we get rain. You may think that this is a new technology, but both these methods were already being used by General Electric in 1946. And at that time, it was a revolutionary discovery. For the first time in history, humans were able to control the weather. After that, the process of cloud seeding gradually improved. First of all, people realized that the method of cloud seeding by using airplanes to throw cloud seeds on clouds is very expensive. An alternative to this was to shoot up rockets from the ground which contained cloud seeds so that they could collide with the clouds and scatter the seeds. As soon as the people and governments of the world came to know about this invention, everyone started looking for ways they could use this cloud seeding technology for their own benefit. In November 1955, the King of Thailand launched the Thailand Royal Rainmaking Project. He was among the first few people to realize that we can use this technology to counter the effects of drought. In Thailand, farmers were often suffering due to droughts. This method suggested by the king was somewhat successful. Today, this program is run by the Department of Royal Rainmaking and Agriculture Aviation in Thailand. Later, in 2001, the Eureka organization awarded the King of Thailand for this. In Indian context, cloud seeding operations were conducted in India in 1983, 1984 to 1987. The Karnataka government initiated cloud seeding in 2003, 04. And in Maharashtra, a US company, Weather Modification Inc., conducted operations the same year. Many countries realized that they could use cloud seeding to stop the rain too. If you look at the overall process, what are we doing here? We are speeding up the condensation process. We are trying to get the water droplets in the clouds to rain as soon as possible. So if on a specific day, in a specific area, we want to prevent rain, then over the last several days, cloud seeding needs to be carried out in the surrounding areas. That means the water droplets in the clouds would have already rained, and there would be no more clouds. Thus, no rain for the few specified days. This exact technique was used in 2008 by China during the Beijing Olympics. They wanted to avoid any rain during the opening ceremony so that there would be no problems. After this, in February 2009, China used iodide sticks when a drought in Beijing was expected. To counter that, they made snowfall in the Beijing area. It snowed for 3 days, and they had to close 12 roads due to snowfall. And now they plan to revive the Yangtze River using this process. It won't be easy to revive such a big river, but with proper planning, it might be achievable. Apart from this, did you know that cloud seeding can be used to reduce the size of hailstones, so that they don't cause heavy damage? Or the fog that we see, it can reduce the amount of fog, especially around airports, so that flights can stick to their schedule. Some airports around the world do use this to control the fog. It is not possible that there is a miraculous technology like cloud seeding with no harm to it. The biggest obvious concern that is raised about cloud seeding is the long-term impact it will have on our weather. What do you think? Will it have any harmful impact? Most people will say that yes. But surprisingly, all the studies done so far on cloud seeding have shown no lasting negative effects on the environment. One of the reasons behind this is that if you understand this process in depth, you will understand what this process is.